years. 3 years this girl has been saving and suffering and planning. And for what? To hand it all to me on a plate. God is good.
Mommy! Mommy, is it there? Did you get it? Let me see, let me see.
Come and collect your future, my daughter. Your ticket is ready.
She is going to wake up and go mad, oh. What are we going to tell her?
Tell her? We are not going to tell her anything. By the time she wakes up, you will be at the airport. And I will be in the parlor drinking my tea.
Mommy, wait for me, Mommy!
She worked for 3 years to build that visa. They took it in 30 seconds. But what they did not know was that what God has planned for a person cannot be stolen. It can only be delayed. This is the story of Adesuwa.
The sun had not yet decided to rise when Adesuwa was already on her feet. That was how it had always been in the Osifo compound. The roosters crowed, the dogs stared, and Adesuwa moved. She would fold her wrapper neatly, splash cold water on her face from the bucket beside the door, and begin sweeping the compound, fetching water from the tap at the junction before the queue grew long, starting the fire for the morning soup before anyone else had opened their eyes. She did all of this quietly. That was the thing people noticed most about Adesuwa. Not just what she did, but how she did it, without noise, without waiting for praise. Her mother had died when she was 9, a brief illness that came in the rainy season and did not leave. Her father, Chief Osifo, loved his children but was terrified of conflict. So when he married Mama Ife 2 years later, a widow from Uromi with a daughter of her own, he told himself he was giving Adesuwa a mother. What he gave her, without knowing it, was a lesson in survival. Mama Ife was not the kind of woman who beat children. She was smarter than that. She used words, carefully chosen, quietly delivered, always deniable. One morning, Adesuwa had just finished mopping the parlor floor when Mama Ife walked in, looked at the tiles and sighed.
Adesuwa, you left the corners again.
I will go over them again, Ma.
Your mates are learning meaningful skills, building something, not sweeping like a house girl.
Yes, Ma.
I don't know what kind of future a girl like you expects. I am just saying.
She never stayed to hear a response. That was her method. Drop the stone, walk before the ripple. Efe, Mama Ife's daughter, was a different kind of person entirely. Pretty in the way that made people forgive her for things. Loud, warm, always laughing in a way that filled whatever room she entered. She borrowed things and forgot to return them. She had started hairdressing twice and quit both times. She had a boyfriend in Sapele who sent her recharge cards and she spent the money before it cooled in her hand. She and Adesuwa shared a room. At night, Efe would talk about abroad, about London, about how Nigeria was not made for serious people. One night, she lay on her back, fanning herself with an old magazine, staring at the ceiling like it had offended her.
Adesuwa, I need to leave this country. Honestly. You are not hearing me. London, Canada, Dubai, anywhere that is not here.
And you have nothing to say? Work toward it. Work toward it. That is all you know. Work, work, work. As if life is only about working.
I heard you. You and your serious face. What else do you want me to say, Efe? Forget it.
She turned over. Adesuwa closed her notebook, turned off her reading torch and lay down. In her own mind, she was already building her plan. Quietly, the way she did everything. Adesuwa had been trading since she was 16. Tomatoes and pepper first, then fabric from Oba Market, selling by the yard to women in the compound and nearby streets. She kept her money in a brown envelope tucked inside an old Bible her mother had left her. Not because she was hiding it, but because that envelope was the only place in that house where something of hers stayed safe. She had done a computer training program, a bookkeeping course. She told no one. She just did them. Before sunrise, between markets, after the cooking was done. The community noticed. That was the part Mama Efe could not control. One afternoon, Mama Tunde stopped her at the tap.
Adesuwa, how is market?
Fine, Ma. Small, but fine.
I was telling my husband just yesterday that Adesuwa carries herself well, respectful, hardworking. Your mother trained you before God took her.
Thank you, Ma.
God sees you, my daughter. Just keep going.
These things always got back to Mama Efe, and every compliment the compound gave Adesua landed in her ears like a quiet insult because the child everyone was praising was not hers. That evening, Chief Osifo mentioned at dinner that Chief Edosonwa had spoken well of Adesua at the elders' meeting. He said it the way men say good news, casually, without understanding what it costs the women listening.
He said she has good character, that people talk well of her.
Silence settled over the table. Mama Efe smiled, the practiced smile she kept for public moments.
Yes, Adeso tries.
Just that, Adesua tries. Not we are proud, not she's doing well, just enough to seem agreeable and not one word more. Adesua ate quietly and said nothing. Chief Osifo saw that his house was clean, food was on the table, and told himself things were in order. He did not see the way Mama Efe spoke when he left the room. He did not see how Adesua's food portion had quietly shrunk over the years. A father who avoids conflict does not keep peace, he only delays war. On the evening that would later divide her life into before and after, Adesua sat outside on a low stool sewing a blouse by the last light of the day. The generator had not come on. She was using the dusk.
You and this you're sewing, as if that is what will take you anywhere. Efe, I am concentrating. I am only saying, you walk and walk, for what? Some of us have bigger plans. Good, pursue them. You think you are better than me. That is what it is. I don't think anything about you, Efe. I am just trying to build my own life. We will see whose life goes further.
She dropped more shells on the clean ground and went inside. Adesowa moved her stool 2 inches closer to the last orange glow in the sky and kept going. She did not know yet what was coming. She did not know that the same roof she kept, the same family she held together without being asked, would soon be the hands that undid her. But she kept sewing, quietly, steadily, the way she always did. It had taken Adesowa 3 years to build that file. 3 years of saving, of filling forms she did not fully understand and going back to fill them again, of visiting the travel agent on Sapele Road so many times that the woman at the front desk knew her name without asking, of gathering every document they requested, bank statements, invitation letters, business proof, photographs, and keeping them inside a brown envelope that she guarded the way some people guard their lives, because to her it was her life. The visa was a work and business opportunity, a legitimate program connecting skilled traders and young entrepreneurs in Nigeria to a short-term program abroad. A contact of her fabric supplier had flagged it. Adesowa had followed every instruction, attended every required local interview, and waited. When the approval letter came, she read it 4 times before she allowed herself to cry. She made the mistake of bringing it home. Not because she was careless, but because Chief Osifo's compound was still her home, and she still believed, even after everything, that good news belonged to family. She told her father first. Adesowa placed the letter before him carefully.
Papa, my visa came through. The program, the one I told you about, I have been approved.
Papa, looking up with warm eyes.
Adesua, this is a good thing. A very good thing.
3 years, Papa. I have been working toward this for 3 years.
Your mother would have been proud.
She held those words close. Mama Efe appeared in the doorway. She had been listening. Mama Efe stepping in, voice smooth.
What is happening? What letter is that?
Adesua's visa has been approved. She is traveling.
Is that so? Congratulations, Adesua.
Adesowa should have noticed the smile did not reach her eyes. She was too happy to notice. That night, she kept the envelope under her pillow. By morning, it was gone. She checked the floor, she checked the mat, she pulled everything off the bed, shook out every fold of wrapper, searched the room 3 times with her hands shaking before the truth arrived quietly and completely. Efe's side of the room was empty. Efe's bag was gone. Adesowa ran. She ran to her father's room. She ran to the gate. She ran to Mama Efe, who was sitting calmly in the parlor, drinking tea, both hands around the cup, entirely unbothered. Adesowa breathing hard.
Where is Efe? Where are my documents? Mama Efe, where is Efe?
Lower your voice in this house.
My envelope is gone. My visa, everything I worked for, it is gone.
Efe has traveled, that is all I know.
Traveled without a word. Traveled with my documents, with my visa. You did this. You gave it to her. You gave her my...
Standing now, voice dropping to something cold.
Watch your mouth. You are in your father's house, not a market.
Papa, come and hear what has happened.
Shifosifo appeared. She told him everything. The missing envelope, the empty room, Efe's disappearance. He listened.
Mama Efe,
He looked at his wife.
do you know anything about this?
Me? I know that this girl has been jealous of my daughter from the beginning. Efe got her own opportunity and traveled. Why must everything be about Adesua?
Are you sure the documents were there last night?
Papa, I kept them under my pillow, I'm sure.
Or perhaps you misplaced them and want to blame my daughter for your own carelessness.
Chifosifo said nothing more. That silence was its own answer. The compound heard everything. Compounds always do. By afternoon, the story had already changed shape in the mouths of neighbors. By evening, it had traveled to the next street. Old Benson shook his head by the gate. Old Benson, to his wife, low voice. That's Adeswa. She should have kept her business to herself. You don't bring a visa into a house with jealous people.
I believe you. You hear me? I believe you.
No one would do anything, Ma.
There is nothing to do today, but God does not sleep, my daughter.
I built that for 3 years. 3 years.
I know.
They sat together in the fading light. The compound moved around them like nothing had happened. Cooking smells, children running, a radio playing somewhere. Mama Efe passed through the courtyard without looking at her. That night, Adeswa sat alone outside with nothing in her hands. No sewing, no notebook, no plan. Just the quiet, enormous weight of a future that had been stolen in the dark. She could have screamed. She could have broken something. She could have gone to the police, to the elders, to anyone who would listen. But she already knew how that would end. She had seen how the compound looked at her today, with pity that quickly became distance. No one wanted to be near a girl the universe seemed to be punishing. So she sat, and she made herself one quiet promise.
This will not be the end of my story.
She did not say it loudly. She did not say it to anyone. She said it to herself in the dark, the way people make the promises that actually hold. Then she went inside, lay down on her mat, and stared at the ceiling until sleep finally took her. Tomorrow, she would begin again, from nothing.
Nobody claps for a person starting over. That is the part they never tell you. They tell you about resilience, about rising, about how fire makes gold stronger. But they do not tell you what it feels like to walk through a market where people used to greet you with both hands and watch them look away. Adeswa knew that feeling now. The day she packed her small bag and left the Osifo compound, no one stopped her. Her father stood at the doorframe with the expression of a man who knew he had failed but could not find the words to say so. Mama Efe watched from the window. Adeswa did not look back. She moved into a single room in a face me, I face you off Obowo Road. The room had one window, a ceiling that complained whenever it rained, and a landlady named Mama Pius who had seen enough of life to mind her business. She had a little money left, not much, enough to buy time.
لا داعي للانتظار. عقود الفروقات على الأسهم الرائدة في الإمارات متاحة الآن. ابدأ رحلتك مع ديوان.
Not comfort. She started with what her hands already knew. She got a job at a tailoring shop on Textile Mill Road, not as the skilled trader she had been building herself into, but as an assistant, someone who cut thread, swept the floor, and handed pins to the woman who owned the machines. Her first week, she earned enough for 1 bag of rice and transport for 3 days. The second week, the shop owner, a stocky woman named Mama Roland, watched her work and moved her from the floor to the table. Mama Roland, not looking up from her machine.
You have done this before.
Small, Ma. I used to sew at home.
Small is not what I see. Sit down. Show me what you can do with this fabric.
Mama Roland watched without speaking. When it was done, she held the wok up to the light and turned it slowly.
Who taught you?
I taught myself, watching, practicing.
You have good hands. I will teach you the rest.
That was the first door. The mockery came from people she had not expected. Not strangers, neighbors, people from the old compound, women who had praised her at the water tap, who had called her a sharp girl, who had said, "God sees you." Those same mouths now carried different words. She heard them at the market one afternoon. She did not mean to. She was pricing thread when two women from the compound passed behind her, voices low but not low enough.
You see that Adesua, the one standing there, she used to form big girl visa abroad business. Now look, she is buying thread. If you cannot hold your own things, life will teach you. She should have been more careful. I heard she accused Mama Efe's daughter. Imagine, jealousy will not let some people rest.
Adesua kept her eyes on the thread. She asked the price. She paid. She left. She walked the long way home so no one would see her face until she had arranged it back into something steady. Meanwhile, abroad, Efe was discovering something no one had warned her about. Opportunity without preparation is a heavy thing to carry. She had landed with Adesuwa's documents, Adesuwa's name on the program, and none of Adesuwa's discipline. The structure of the program, the schedules, the accountability, the early mornings and required outputs felt to Efe like a punishment. She began skipping sessions. She found people who made skipping feel like freedom. The money she was given for upkeep went in directions that had nothing to do with upkeep. Within 4 months, she had been quietly removed from the program. She did not call home to say so. She told her mother everything was fine. She found a room with 3 other Nigerian girls and began to survive in the way people survive when they have burned the structure meant to hold them, one difficult day at a time with nothing growing underneath. But that story was abroad. Adesuwa did not know it. She had no time to wonder. She was too busy building. Mama Roland taught her pattern drafting. She learned to read body measurements the way some people read faces, quickly, accurately, with confidence. She learned which fabrics moved and which fabrics fought you. She learned how to make something from almost nothing and make it look intentional. After 8 months, Mama Roland called her in one morning before the shop opened.
I have a customer, a big one. She needs an outfit for her daughter's introduction. 12 pieces, all the women in the family. She asked me, I want to give it to you. I will supervise, but you will lead it. Can you do it?
Yes, Ma, I can do it.
Good. Don't let your hands lie to me.
Her hands did not lie. The 12 pieces were delivered on time, fitted perfectly, and the customer photographed every single one. She posted them, she tagged the shop, she told her friends. By the end of that week, 3 new customers had walked through Mama Roland's door asking for the girl who sewed the introduction outfits. They were not asking for Mama Roland, they were asking for Adesua. She did not celebrate loudly. She went home to her small room off Ugbowo Road, sat on the edge of her bed and allowed herself one quiet moment of something that felt like proof.
This is working.
Then she picked up her notebook and planned the next day. Outside, the city moved and hummed and forgot about her, the way cities forget about everyone who is not yet loud enough to demand remembering. She was not loud yet, but she was coming. 5 years is a long time. Long enough for a city to forget what it said about you. Long enough for the women who whispered at the markets to need something from you. Long enough for a name that was once spoken with pity to be spoken with a different kind of weight entirely. Adesuwa's shop was on Reservation Road now, a real shop, not a table, not a corner of someone else's space. Her name was on the sign outside in clean black letters, Adesuwa Osifo Kucho. She had 3 girls working under her. She had a waiting list. She had suppliers who called her instead of the other way around. She had built it the same way she built everything. Quietly, completely, without asking anyone's permission. Mama Roland had come to the opening of the shop. She sat in the front row of plastic chairs, ate the small chops, and watched the whole afternoon with the calm expression of someone who had known this was coming long before anyone else did.
You remember what I told you that first day?
Don't let your hands lie to me.
Your hands never lied. Not once. I am proud of you, my daughter.
Sending you money for more. What happens in the family stays in the family when you send with Remitly.
Can you tell these are AI?
Not really.
Neither can we. Go to Artlist for the best quality AI.
You gave me the first door, Ma. I will never forget that. Go and receive your guests. This day belongs to you.
It did. For the first time in a long time, something belonged fully to her. Efe came back on a Tuesday. No announcement, no phone call ahead. Just a taxi that stopped at the old Osifo compound, a single bag, and a face that had aged in ways that had nothing to do with years. The abroad had not been kind. When the program ended and the structure collapsed, Efe spent 2 more years trying to hold herself together in a country that had no particular interest in helping her do so. She worked small jobs, she moved rooms 3 times, she borrowed money she could not repay. She carried the quiet shame of someone living a life that was never meant to be hers, wearing it every day until it became too heavy to pretend otherwise. She came home empty, and she came home knowing it. Mama Efe had aged too. The compound looked smaller somehow. Old Benson was gone. Mama Tunde had moved to her son's house in Benin GRA. Chief Osifo moved slowly now, his knees giving him trouble, his television still on every evening, but his eyes not always watching it. Within a week of Efe's return, the money problems became clear. The compound had been running on very little. Mama Efe had debts she had been managing with pride and silence. And now, with Efe back and nothing coming in, the silence was becoming harder to maintain. It was Mama Efe who made the decision. It cost her more than she showed. They came on a Saturday. Morning was early, and Adesua was at the shop reviewing fabric orders with one of her girls when she heard the knock. She looked up. Mama Efe stood at the door of the shop. Efe stood slightly behind her, smaller than Adesua remembered, eyes cast downward, hands folded in front of her like someone waiting for a verdict. The shop girl looked between them and quietly found somewhere else to be. Adesua set down her papers. She did not move toward them. She did not move away.
Adesua, we have come to see you.
I can see that. Sit down.
Adesua remained standing, not to dominate, but because her hands needed something to do, and the fabric orders were still on the table. Mama Efe looked around the shop slowly. The sign, the fabrics, the 3 workstations, the framed receipt of the first order Adesua had ever completed alone. Mama Rolande had suggested she frame it, and she had. Something moved across Mama Efe's face. It was not quite guilt. It was the expression of a woman doing arithmetic she did not like the answer to.
You have done well for yourself.
Thank you.
We are not in a good position at the moment. Things have been hard. Efe is back and we need some help. Financially. Just to get back on our feet.
The shop was quiet. Outside, Reservation Road moved. Okadas, music from a nearby store, a woman calling out fabric prices, life continuing as it always did. Adesua looked at Mama Efe, then at Efe, who had not raised her eyes once since sitting down. Then she looked at the framed receipt on the wall. She thought about the brown envelope under her pillow, the morning she woke up and it was gone, her father's silence, the compound women and their whispers in the market, the single room off Ubowo Road, the night she planned alone with no one watching. She thought about all of it. And then she let it go. Not for them, for herself. Because she had learned in 5 hard years that bitterness is the only prison you build and then also agree to live in. She pulled a chair and sat across from them. Her voice, when it came, was calm and clear.
I am not going to give you money.
Mama Efe's jaw tightened.
Not because I cannot, but because that is not what either of us needs from this moment.
So you want to humiliate us? After everything...
I did not invite you here, Ma. You came, and I am speaking to you with more respect than this moment requires.
Please hear me.
What was done to me was wrong. You know it, I know it, the compound knows it, and that is not why I built this place. But I will not write a check over it either, as if money can fold it up and put it away.
Efe, barely a whisper, still not looking up.
Adesua, I am sorry.
The shop held that sentence for a long moment. Adesua looked at her stepsister fully for the first time since they sat down.
I know you are, Efe.
Efe, eyes finally rising, red-rimmed.
It wasn't supposed to. It doesn't matter now. What's done is done. And you have already lived the consequence of it. I don't need to add to that.
She stood, smoothed her fabric, walked to the door and held it open, not in anger, but with the quiet, unmistakable energy of a woman who knew exactly where her boundaries were and had paid for every one of them.
I hope things get better for your family. Genuinely. But I cannot be the one to fix it. That chapter is closed.
So that is it.
That is it.
Mama Efe walked out first. Efe followed. At the door, Efe stopped and turned. One last look at Adesua, at the shop, at the name on the sign outside. She stood alone in her shop for a moment. No anger, no tears, no relief even. Just the deep, settled stillness of a woman who had walked through fire and come out the other side knowing exactly who she was. She went back to her fabric orders. She picked up her pen. She kept working. The way she always had, the way she always would. The end. If you followed this story to the very end, I truly appreciate you. Please take a moment to subscribe and join our growing family of story lovers. And before you go, there's another beautiful story on your screen right now. Go ahead and watch. I promise it's worth your time.
Check historical transaction data instantly. Make